Joe in real life. So when I was a yoga teacher, I used to do this meditation exercise with my students. And I did it with myself this morning. Anyway, the basics, and I'm going to go over it really fast. You sit quietly. You imagine your perfect teacher. Just eyes closed, breathing at a regular rhythm, deliberate breath. It helps the imagination. I know that seems like a weird note. And you imagine your perfect teacher. And then you imagine that you are your perfect teacher. I'm going over it quick, but that like what you're actually imagining was never a fantasy person that you needed to teach you, but you yourself, just a perfected you, a better version of you that's achievable, right? You focus on that concept for just a little while, and I'm talking 20, 30 seconds. And then you try to think of something that's in the way of who you are now versus who you want to be, right? Something that you could change, one single thing. Something that you could change and would change. It has to be a manageable thing, but it also has to be a real thing, and it has to be an honest thing. So, if you do this correctly, it will be probably something small and something that, at least on paper, is very doable, but also something that you don't want to do, right? So let me give you a clumsy example, right? Let's say you're a heroin addict, an opioid addict, right? And you do this exercise. The first thing you think might be, well, I should quit opioids, right? But that is way too big a bite, That, this is an awful thing that I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's entirely possible that with perfect effort and execution, you from where you are in this moment can't quit opioids. It's not a possible thing that can happen. Doesn't mean you can't quit down the road, but you can't quit today in this moment. That's too much, right? But could you look into treatment? Could you make a serious investigation of treatment? Could you begin getting your life in order in such a way that you're ready to take that plunge? What would getting your life in order entail? What might be the first step? Yeah? And that is the thing. That's the thing, right? Now, I used a clumsy, dramatic example to illustrate the point a little better, right? Often these powerful concepts in our zeitgeist are useful because they clarify things, and it's pretty easy with like a really, really dramatic thing like heroin addiction to see that obviously the end goal is to not be a heroin addict. But what's the first step? The first step is much trickier, right? The first step might be telling somebody you love that you have a problem and asking for help in whatever form that may be and surrendering to that help. Like, what a massive step. What an uncomfortable thing to do, So I did that this morning. I have, those of you who are regular watchers know that I'm struggling with my mom. I've been struggling with my work. I've been struggling with my health to a small degree. And I just wanted some clarity. I wanted that first step, and so I did it. And I think I have somewhere to start. I am so sore today. I'm going to switch gears on you. I am I am even sorer today than yesterday. I'm feeling really good and really motivated. I went for a run last night. It was my first run in 15, 16 days. And I ran amazing. But boy, it's my midsection, groin to throat. I'm just destroyed from that ab wheel. I'm gonna get some movement in today, and I'm gonna do some squats. Weirdly, I'm thinking about bodybuilding. I'm thinking about doing a hypertrophy session until the end of the year, and I'm pretty excited to get started on that. I've never actually done that, ever. Like, okay, maybe when I was 17, I did a really, really clumsy and stupid sort of hypertrophy workout, kind of like program, but I don't remember doing it, and I'm just saying that because it sounds like something I would do. I don't know that I did. But it would be nice, and there were a lot of very good programs totally for free online. And I might poach one, or I might build one based on their principles. I haven't decided yet. But I think that might be a fun way for me to get to my goal of 20 squats at 185 and 20 pull-ups. I think hypertrophy, well, that's hypertrophy range. That's the back end of hypertrophy range. So, yeah, like, why not, right? It's funny getting some work and dialing back your discipline and feeling your health return. It's amazing for morale. And I'm sore today. I'm not going to be able to go hard, not even remotely. I can barely bend over. But I'm going to get warm, and I'm going to see what the body offers. So if you'd like more detail on that meditation, we could definitely do that as a video. But you've got the gist of it. It should take under 5 minutes. Just sit down. Just sit down. Breathe slow. Breathe with in and out through the nose. Doesn't even have to be through the nose if you struggle with that. I mean, you should work on that, but at a cadence that's relatively consistent. And turn your imagination on and imagine that teacher and move through the process. That's it for today. I'll show you my minimum probably, or something a little more robust. Stay tuned. So it wasn't my intention when I got up this morning to deliver a self-help lecture on my YouTube channel. I think it'd be pretty weird if that is like the first thought I had in the morning. And I'm certainly not trying to tell you what to do or even suggest how you might want to direct your life. And in fact, apropos, that's also kind of a misinterpreted point of the exercise. We think that, my students would often think that we sit down and we do this thing, and for some of them it was a very emotional thing, because usually you have a pretty good idea what the thing you need to change is, but not always. And sometimes my students would be surprised by the change that they felt they needed to make. But we're slightly missing the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise isn't to figure out what needs to be changed and then get to work changing it. That's a side effect of the exercise. It's not the point. The point is to see these changes as something that can actually happen, that it's doable, that it can be done, because often we look at our problems and we don't see a solution. you know? Like, like I'll use the clumsy example again of like the opioid addict, you know? Uh, and and just I was never an opioid addict, but speaking from my own addiction experience, it can feel hopeless. You're like that there is no way out, no matter what steps you take. Um, and we sit and we control our breath and we activate our imagination and we turn on the part of our mind that is unprejudiced as best we can. That's not a perfect thing that anyone can do, you know, but as best we can. And then we look at the problem and then, or the obstruction. Let's be more accurate and say obstruction. And then we find a step, you know? And if you're doing this honestly, sincerely, you might not believe that the goal is achievable. Fair enough. It might not be. I genuinely believe with practice it's not only achievable, it's inevitable. But opinions vary, and the counterpoint is heard. But what is absolutely achievable, without question, and no one would argue otherwise, is the first step. That first incremental step towards a solution is a thing you can do. And the point of the exercise is to dispel that hopelessness, that it is not possible, that it is not a thing you can do. So that's my pitch, right? This video is at 2x speed. Today's day 5 of the kettlebell war, so I'm doing 5 swings, and I did 5 sets. I do think that from time it's important to do more reps than called for in the building up process, and I haven't been very good about that. And I'm doing a pin squat, a pretty high pin squat for me. I realize pin squats are done much higher than this, you know, fairly often, but I don't like a high pin squat. So this is maybe mid-range. I would say my seat is above parallel, but not by much. Maybe just 2 to 3 inches, maybe less, you know. And I had hoped to get under the bar from the bottom position and press up, but I found that coordination untenable. Just not a thing I'm capable of doing. So I would lower down, come to a full stop, complete rest, and then press up. And I don't like pin squats, but I gotta say I really liked them today. In the video, I work up to 205, well above my daily minimum. And then I posted a short with 225, which I'm pretty stoked about. It moved fairly well. And I think I'm at notch 14 on my rack. So maybe next week I'll do it again in 13 and just see how it feels. I think 13 or 12 would be my, let's call it competition squat depth. I have no intention of competing, but let's just call it that, you know? And then the ask to grass squat on my rack is about an 8. Yeah, I'd say that's 3 inches above parallel, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to tell when it's sped up, but if you get a good look at it, let me know in the comments. Well, I think it's maybe 3, maybe 4 inches. I think my pins are supposed to be 2 inches apart, but I don't know for sure. Sorry, I got my gum again. I switched from a nicotine lozenge to nicotine gum. You might be wondering what my thing is, what thing I plan to change. And, well, it's silly really, but because it's simple. And it relates to a larger goal that I'll keep private for now. But basically, I need to look for another job. I need to I need to find a job that's more feasible fiscally. And I've just been complaining. And not getting any resumes out. And that's silly. I have printed resumes. I could get one out every day. And this is something I've been giving my son a hard time about, but I haven't been doing myself. And that's just, it's hypocritical. And it's not smart, you know? So, like, why am I complaining if I'm taking no action? That means I'm amputated from the solution. Like, so I'm just a pure victim in the case of my own employment. That's absurd. Like, and that might seem like an obvious observation, but it wasn't clear to me. And it came to me clearly, you know? So anyway, that's that for today. I had fun today. This is Joe in real life. I love you guys. Be good to each other out there. And let me know if you do the meditation. I'd love to know your results. All right, bye.